In terms of the agenda for this evening, we'll begin with some resources, really a sense of how to best use the College Center throughout the next phase of the application process. At Beverly, it's really wonderful. You have multiple counselors. We have a number of programming and a number of ways to communicate with you as families. It can get a little confusing sometimes, so I think it's just helpful to keep in mind as your son or daughter enters the college application process, how to best use us as a college center so that you really get the most amount of time with us beyond meetings and whatnot. I really want to set the landscape, kind of give you guys a window into the next part of your life, the next adventure, what that could look like, and beginning the college process from a point of really yourself as a student and what possibilities, opportunities there are for you. Providing a framework of context. So I'll be providing the latest statistics on four-year institutions, the percentage of students that they're accepting. It can feel very overwhelming, like no colleges are accepting students at all. So it's really helpful to provide data to help provide that. Where to apply. Aside from setting the context and providing data and a framework to four-year colleges, the percentage of students that they're accepting, and really the options that you have, we'll go into where to apply. So as a student, you have a number of options. How do you begin that research process and how do you structure your college list? Organizing that list, strategizing your next items and tasks, and then prioritizing your next steps to really help you stand out and present the strongest application ultimately as an applicant. We'll discuss college cost and have a Q&A towards the end. So if you're just joining us, my name is Casey Barneson. I am the college counselor here at Beverly Hills High School. This presentation is being recorded. The slides, in addition to the recording, will be shared after the presentation. I thank you so much for joining us. I do plan on having a hard stop of 7 o'clock to respect everyone's time. And again, please email our center for any questions that aren't answered. The chat feature, you should be able to pop into the chat and put a response directly to me as the host, and I'll open it up towards the end. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and begin. I think it's really important to get a sense of the Beverly Hills High School College Center and really how to access the resources. Every junior was assigned this college and career lesson plan within their English classes. So ask your son or daughter if they completed this, and if not, ask their teacher. They can access our office, and we will be sharing this with parents and guardians and families as well. This has a really in-depth overview of every college system, including trade, technical, gap year options, international options as well for students. And this is the comprehensive, really lesson plan beyond this hour college night. So that is an additional resource that every student has access to. The College Center itself is really set up with overarching programming. So remember, you have your school counselor that you do work with throughout the 4 years. And the College Center provides workshops and programming to really help you stay connected to college admissions. Oftentimes, we are able to provide an individual meeting with students, but it can be tough to get a meeting right away. And really the best use of your time is to attend workshops and night events such as this, and follow through with communication and really stay connected. We prioritize providing a large amount of information to families in a number of ways to make sure that you can make the best educated decision for your college options. So in terms of the workshops right now, we have our spring college series. We had Unpacking UCs this week. We will always send home the slides to students if they were. The center is open. Any student, any grade level can come in and ask questions. And when it comes time to complete your college applications, a lot of times our seniors come in and bring their laptops and complete their applications. And that's a really wonderful resource for students to take advantage. We have snacks, we make tea, we have a beautiful view. It's a really wonderful space for us to have open and use as a working space for students. In the fall, there are a number of workshops that are geared towards every component of the college application. So UC workshops, Cal State workshops, personal insight essays, supplemental essays, how to send an email to your admission counselor, for example. We work with all of our students, and those are available to students. Coffee with the counselors, those are for parents and guardians once a month. That will continue to happen. And again, if you're unable to attend any of these, we thoroughly send out information through our communication platforms. So typically every week, you will receive a class of 2023 College Center news and resources email. You can simply go to your BHUSD Gmail accounts or whatever you've signed up with as a parent through Aries and search class of 2023, and you will find a number of emails with not only upcoming events, but next steps and helpful resources that I tailor towards the timeline of the year and what's best as a junior to be targeting at this moment in time. So it's a really great way if you're feeling like, how do I know if I'm preparing for college applications appropriately? Check those emails. It's a good place to start. We have an 11th grade college planning page directly on our website. It's a completely revamped, updated page. So that will have updated downloadable guides and links and resources. So please take a look at that. That's at our Beverly Hills High School page under the resources and counselors section. The Beverly Buzz is the weekly updates. We have the Norman Connection, which is a video that goes out to students bi-monthly. And then of course, feel free to always email our office. Over the summer, all rising seniors will have access to an online college essay virtual library. These can be live videos that they can access, or if you're traveling, every student can access those videos at any point in time. There's live essay reviews in small groups and also individual review sessions with essay counselors as well as myself, and that is accessible to all rising seniors. The college essay can be one of the biggest components and a differentiating factor that stands your application apart, especially with the UC system. So that is a huge, huge resource that I would prioritize, really apart from everything else in terms of helping your application shine. Over the summer, you can fill out the brag sheet survey, which we'll talk about. The brag sheet survey essentially is a survey on Naviance that helps your counselor and teachers write stronger letters of recommendation. That can be completed over the summer, and you can work on Naviance to organize your college list and prepare from there. In the fall, we have college representative visits. These are admission counselors. Oftentimes, these admission counselors are one of the first application reader. So they're one of the first reviewers of your college application, and they read for Beverly Hills High School. We typically have over 100, 120 each year. This past fall, they were held in Zoom. And this coming fall, we hope and anticipate to invite those speakers invite those counselors to meet in person. So for example, if you're interested in the University of Michigan, Chris Tesoro, who is our admission counselor, will come into our college center, present the University of Michigan, present updates on programs, admission policies, and answer students' questions. And he is one of the application readers. It is a phenomenal resource to students, especially if you're considering a college or not, to gain some more information and see if it's a good fit, but also to get inside information. So for example, if you're applying to Syracuse University and Camille, our college admission counselor, says, I live in Southern California, and between the months of September and October, I open up interviews. This is a great way for you to get to know me as an admission counselor. It's a great way for me to help give you tips on your application. That is a tip that you typically won't get anywhere else, and it's here in our college center. That is a huge resource. We anticipate being able to bring back our college fair in the fall. That's typically in September. And again, we will offer individual essay review sessions, and the College Center is always open to work on applications. It's important to be mindful of the different roles here on campus. The counseling department at Beverly is an incredibly robust one, especially for a public school. You have your school counselors that help you with academic planning. You've met with them all throughout high school. They are the counselors that will be the ones writing you a letter of recommendation, and they're an additional support in the college process. You'll share your post-secondary plan, your college plans with them and keep them in loop. But it's really important also to remember that we are as a counseling team as a whole. So while you will come to the College Center and use us as a resource and meet with us individually, we are always looping in your counselor as well so that we can best support you as a student and as a family. So it's really important to keep all of us looped in, and that's a huge resource. So let's really think about this. What's amazing and what I really like to remind students is for possibly one of the first times ever in your entire life, you have the option to decide the type of learning environment you want to receive, the type of college experience, the type of academic experience, and the community that you're going to surround yourself with. You have so many college options, and you get to be in the driver's seat of making that next step for you. Think about it as a consumer. I have thousands of options. What are my needs? What are my wants? And how, in this really exciting time, am I going to compile a list of institutions that are not only going to support me and challenge me, but set me up to thrive upon graduation? These are some of the colleges from our past few years of Beverly Hills High School graduates that our students have matriculated to. If you look quickly at the list, you see small universities, large UCs, Cal States, universities that have more of an arts or performing arts or conservatory feel, international institutions. And it's really wonderful for students to get a sampling of just how many institutions are out there. Oftentimes we hear kind of the same institutions, and absolutely there are phenomenal institutions for every single student. But again, that's typically a short list of what's out there. So it's really exciting to think about, again, for one of the first times in really your entire life that you get to choose where you want to go. I'm going to take you guys on a quick journey before we dive into all the logistics. And I just want you to imagine this for a second. Imagine that you are now a part of your college. You've enrolled, you've registered for classes, you've shown up, you're a part of your dorm. And these are an example of some of the scenarios you could have. So if you're a parent, a guardian, if you're a student sitting with your parents, take a moment and just kind of sit and listen as I walk through these scenarios to really set the stage for what could be a possibility for you. You meet with your advisor and she hands you a course guide. You get to pick whatever classes you want to build your degree. The curriculum is completely open and you're gearing up for second semester. You unpack your bags and meet your cohort a full 2 weeks before schools begin. Because you're a female in the engineering program and the university you chose provides a tailored curriculum to help females in the field break through the glass ceiling. You check into the Idea Hub on campus. It houses 3D printers, computers, laser cutters, and presentation rooms so you can design, build, and present an idea. You leave a class and head to the soccer field. Quidditch practice begins today, and you're hoping to snag the snitch. You pack your bags for a weekend trip deep in the Rocky Mountains. You study astronomy, and you head outdoors for your classroom. You use your Oyster card to take the tube to your first class. You're studying in London, and you will graduate in 3 years with a focused degree and a global network with international experience under your belt. You walk into the Academic Success Center and take your test with extra time and walk away with a priority list to help you strategize your assignments for next semester. You earn a college credit class, or you earn college credit for taking a Game of Thrones class. You dive into books, writing, language, and characters. You learn how surfing has influenced cultures around the world in your History of Surfing course. You're a part of the Financial Markets Institute within the business program, and you connect with hedge funds and investment banks on Wall Street, even though you're attending college in Michigan. These are real scenarios and real programs, real classes and real experiences that you can have. And every student is different. So now let's fast forward to your graduation. You've walked across the stage, you've received your diploma, and you've exited college. Let's imagine this. You walk out of an interview you gained from your LinkedIn profile that you created freshman year with a career counselor because it was a part of your college's curriculum. You feel ready as ever. You pay your first monthly student loan payment, and it's an easy payment because you've taken out less than $12,000 for your entire education. You meet your professor for coffee. He provided you an internship in sophomore year, and he's now become your mentor. You catch the subway heading to your job. You begin working at an internship junior year because of a mandatory internship that was a part of your major requirement. That company hired you senior year. You meet your friend for dinner. You connected on your study abroad trip to Spain, and he's in town. You're building a global startup together, and you're meeting to create your business plan. You show your highlights reel to a major network from 4 years of news in your journalism program. You get home from work and play the piano to unwind, not because you're a musician, but because you were able to take classes within the conservatory at the college you attended. You went to school in Chicago, but you connect with your alumni in Los Angeles. You attend alumni events, you make new connections, and you expand your network. The connections you make in college are completely unpredictable. These scenarios are really to give you guys a sense that no matter where you go, your experiences within those 4 years are guaranteed to really set up the trajectory of your success beyond college. So before you approach this project or this process with what college are you going to apply to, I want you to ask yourself, what type of experience do I want that is going to push me out of my comfort zone, but support me, help provide the learning environment, the academic environment, the social environment that I need to succeed, and what type of experiences am I about to embark on, because those are going to create your resume that are going to get you the jobs and create your success upon graduation. All right, I know you guys want to dive into the nitty gritty, so here we go. So let's just set the scene a little bit, or set the scene for us right now. There are over 3,000 colleges and universities across the United States alone. That's not including the international institutions. The national average college acceptance rate across the United States is over 60%. Most colleges are accepting students. So when you think about building your college list, and we'll discuss that, you have a number of options with institutions guaranteed to fit your needs. And you don't have to make a decision until where you attend to college, truly until May 1st of your senior year. When we break down the numbers, the National Center for Educational Statistics puts together a digest of education statistics. So only 1% of four-year institutions accept less than 10% of their applicants. So of those thousands of colleges and universities nationwide, only 1% are accepting less than 10% of their applicants. 2.5% are accepting anywhere between 10 and 25% of their applicants. 10% are accepting 25 to about 50% of their applicants. 29% are accepting 50 to 75. And then you can see the rest of the data. 20% are accepting 75 to 90, and 12.5% are accepting 90% or more. So when we really break it down, over 60% of four-year institutions are accepting more than half of their applicants. So I really think that it's important to give you guys this hard data, because as you approach the college process, everyone becomes an expert and no one is an expert. Well, rarely no one is an expert. So go to reputable sources, the College Center websites itself, your school counselor, the College Center, a reputable admission counselor, for example, and get the data before we make assumptions, especially when these assumptions lead to your decisions on where you apply and attend college, which is a massive component to your life. Jeff Schiffman was the admission counselor for Tulane University for a number of years, and he was the regional LA representative. He no longer works with Tulane. He now is essentially in a role where he's managing a large portion of New Orleans and communication, and it's really wonderful. But he always said this quote when he came to visit our students, and I really it rang true, and it really resonated with a lot of our kids. He said, "There's no such thing as bad colleges, only bad fits." Students rightly so ask, well, what is a good college? How do I get into a good college? When we have to realize that's such a personal question. Every student's different. What they want to major in is different. The type of environment they thrive in is different. So how can we make an assumption that one college is good and that's the college that will work for everyone? So again, I'm going to challenge you as the consumer to really think about the college process from a me selfish standpoint, and what is my scenario? What college will work best for me, and strategize from there. When you're looking at your college list, it really matters. So I want you to think about the things that matter to me academically, socially, personally. What are my values? What are my interests? What are my deal breakers? Structuring your deadlines. Every student will present a strong application and it will look differently. So if I'm a student who wants to apply regular decision later into the fall semester of senior year, so I can showcase strong senior grades, that's going to make for a stronger application for me. If I'm a student that has one university that I absolutely know is my top choice university, and they offer a binding decision plan that I can show all my cards into that university, if they attend me, I will go, that might make sense for me. Again, every college on your list should mirror your values, and you can make your list very strategic, and we will talk about this. So again, talking about academics, thinking about major. If you have a clear idea of what you want to major in, that will drive your search. If you have an idea on 2 or 3 things, for example, make sure the colleges you look at have all of those departments in case you want to change your major. You can apply undecided. And if you truly don't know what you want to major in, I encourage you as a student to think about the type of curriculum. Do I want a college that will offer me general education classes, advisors that will help me then choose and declare my major and finish my last 2 years in my major classes? Or do I want an interdisciplinary environment where I can study multiple things along the way? Learning style, small discussion based, large lecture hall. Do I have advisors that are supporting me? Do I have a learning disability where I need an office that's going to help me? What are the extra experiences that are going to help my program stand out? What are the professors doing? What are recent alumni doing? Are there research in the field? Do they bring speaker series on campus? Do they have a global network with partner universities abroad, for example? What makes the program different? Not just the college, but down to the program and the learning style. For personal, again, every student has different scenarios. So you could be at the most selective institution in the entire world, but if you cannot leave your dorm because you do not feel supported in your mental health and wellness, for example, or the college environment isn't really sticking or fitting, it doesn't matter where you are. So think about your must-haves and the things that are going to help, again, push you out of your comfort zone, but also help support you. Do you want to study abroad? Location, size, feel. The social things like religious, political clubs, organizations, the community. Do I want school spirit? Do I want Greek life? No Greek life? These things are important. So thinking, if I could create my dream university, what would it look like? We have a ton of resources in our center, and I'm going to show you guys some tools towards the end of different websites that can help you research all of these schools. But these are the questions you need to ask yourself at the beginning. And balanced, meaning when you approach the college process, are you thinking about out-of-state schools in addition to California schools? Apply to both and allow yourself the time to make that final decision. Once the 4-year college deadlines pass, you cannot go back. So if you're thinking UCs, Cal States, but you're also thinking out-of-state universities, apply to both, allow your decisions to come in. And again, second semester, senior year, you're making that decision. So this is your college list. Be reflective, be honest, have conversations with the ones you trust, own your list, and you're not necessarily committing to anything yet. There are binding decision plans, early decision and restrictive early action, where you commit to one university. You can apply to other universities, but when you apply to a binding admission plan, you are then saying to that university, if you admit me, I withdraw all other applications and attend. That is not the case for all schools. It is one option. By and large, you have every opportunity to apply to universities, hear back your decisions, and then commit to a university May 1st of your senior year. So commit to research, commit to researching colleges and universities, go to a college tour, visit a campus, take a virtual tour. We're in California. We're so close to a number of universities. Even if you're considering out-of-state schools and you don't want to travel out of state yet, you could tour Chapman, Loyola, and Loyola Marymount University and UCLA and get a sense of a big, small, and medium-sized campus right here. So take advantage of the universities close by, set up a tour, and go visit. When we look at the different college systems as a whole, and again, that junior video that I sent out to all the English classes has a breakdown of the decisions, the different admission reviews and the policies, and it goes much more in depth. So I will be sharing that video as well in terms of, in addition to this. But just to get a sense, when you're looking at your college options, so for public universities within the state of California, you have our two systems. We have the UC system and the Cal State system. There's one regular decision deadline. Both UC and Cal States are due on November 30th. There's no priority, there's no early. They do not accept the SAT or ACT, and you're going to apply directly on the UC website and also directly on the Cal State website. So you would apply on their respective online websites, and you would apply to multiple universities within those systems. Private California universities, there's 86 accredited nonprofit institutions in the state of California. They do vary in their deadlines. So you will have, for example, Cal Lutheran or Loyola Marymount may have a regular decision deadline of January 15th, but you can also apply what's called early action by November 1st or November 15th. Early action gives you the opportunity to apply by November 1st or 15th, for example. You hear back typically before the holidays in December, January, and you still have the option to wait and hear your other decisions and then commit to a university by May 1st. You were not binded by a decision plan that's restrictive, for example. And again, every college is going to be different. So before getting lost in the weeds, I really am going to encourage you. Oh, let me go back. I really am going to encourage you to begin with your college list and research. Second semester, junior year, this is the best time. The biggest themes is to compile your college list. Once you know where you want to apply, that now narrows your schools down. Then you can make a decision, what types of decision plans are available to me, and when will I present the strongest application? That's where the strategy of your list comes into play. So before getting lost in the application logistics, back it up and always start with your list first. Private California universities, again, they're varying their dates and deadlines. They often practice what's called a holistic admission review, where they look at academics, they look at your grades, they look at SAT, ACT, can be test optional, for example. So if you have a test score that's within the ranges and it's academically competitive, you can submit your score or you can choose not to. You will have an essay, letters of recommendation, complete activities and awards, for example, and you would apply on different websites. It just depends on the university. The Common Application and the Coalition Application are two online application systems where you can apply to multiple universities, and some universities will ask you to apply directly on their website. Again, build your list first and then figure out how to apply. Out-of-state universities, you have public and private institutions. Again, they have varying deadlines, early, regular, some binding, and we will go a little bit further into that with questions as well. That's a little confusing. Holistic admissions, meaning you have all the qualitative pieces like letters of recommendation, maybe one main essay and shorter supplemental essays, your activities and awards, and then the academic component, your grades, potentially test scores, and you would apply on the different websites. There are also international institutions. They have varying deadlines, but oftentimes their admissions process is much clearer. So they ask you to which program you're applying to. They may ask for AP scores and testing on SAT or ACT. And again, their tuitions can often be at a reduced cost, and their degree programs can be shorter. How to approach your research. When you're building your college list, essentially, there's no hard and fast rule. And really what you're doing is helping to collect data so that you're structuring your list in a way to make the best educated decision from compiling academic profiles and GPAs, so you can get a sense of if a school is hard to get into for you or likely to get into. Typically, we recommend students apply anywhere from 8 to 10 colleges, and those include 2 to 3 likely schools, 2 to 3 target, and 2 to 3 reach. Again, this isn't a hard and fast rule. The UC application is one application, and you can apply to multiple campuses. So some families can look at UCs as one institution. It's not extra work. You do pay for each application, but the process of the application itself isn't additional. So they count that as one school, for example. What qualifies a school as a reach school on your college list? This is where the balanced college list comes into play. If you're applying to 10 institutions that accept 15 or less % of your applications, that's not a balanced list, even if your academic profile is within the ranges. So reaches can be due to a low acceptance rate, competitive admissions, or if your academic profile is lower than the averages. And we'll show you how to look up that information. A target school is really a school that it's in the mid-range. You feel good with your academic ranges within the profile of the past admitted students, or they're accepting, around half of their applicants, 30% or higher, for example. And then a likely institution, so this is if you're above the academic ranges. Sometimes less selective institutions will ask students based on PSAT scores, for example, or grades, be invited to apply to an honors program, or they'll offer a free, they'll waive the college application fee, for example, where the acceptance rates are a little bit higher. Every single student is going to be different. So this is really where, once you've researched your list, you meet with your counselor, the college center, you bring your list in, and we can look at your list and really get a sense of if it's balanced or not. Again, start big and go small. So allow yourself to really organize. There's a downloadable college Excel spreadsheet on our website. We'll also share it in addition to this presentation, but create some sort of an organization sheet, whether that's an Excel spreadsheet, a Word document, or even a notebook where page 1 is a university and you write it down. Whatever's going to help you keep track of data. So you're writing down the college, why you like the school. I think it's, again, important to remind yourself why the school landed on your list in the first place. You're looking at your high school statistics. You're also looking, which I'll show you how to do in Naviance. You're also looking on the college's website, and you're looking at the past admitted profile of the past applicants that were admitted. So you're looking at their academic profile, for example, what were their GPA ranges? What were their SAT scores, if that makes sense? What's the acceptance rate overall? Why do I like this school? Why is it on my list? Scattergrams. In Naviance, you can log in, you can search any school, and this is what a scattergram looks like. In a sense, the X's are students who were denied, and the check marks are students who were admitted. And then it's important to keep in mind that scattergrams are self-reported. It never shows the student's name, and scattergrams also do not show us essay questions or essay responses, letters of recommendation, the activities, and the words. So again, this is a part where you're using data points to really help gauge where you are in terms of how competitive you are with the school. So I'm going to give you guys an example of a student and how Manny approached the process. So Manny's interested in business, has a 3.4 unweighted GPA and a 3.6 weighted GPA. Manny really likes school spirit. It's okay to be in a city, but would really like to be in a solid college community with a lot of student participation, open to in-state and out-of-state. So Manny starts researching on a couple reputable websites, reads books such as the Fisk Guide to Colleges, which is a helpful college guidebook. We have them in our center. And he starts to find a couple universities. So Boston University, in more of a city, has a good business program, really likes the student community. Looks at the GPAs on Naviance. He also looks on Boston universities and compiles some data. Miami, Oxford, Ohio, super spirited, has a ton of housing communities, really strong sense of campus, strong business and sports. A lot of students major in more than one area of study. They're active in clubs. The campus is really remote, but Manny's okay with it because there's a ton of support there. They accept 74% of their applicants, and you can see the GPA ranges of a 3.5 to 4.1 below. University of Oregon, strong business. They have an honors program, which can help Manny stand out and look stronger. He can be a big fish in a small pond, for example. Likes the idea of a student community and really big with sports, accepts 80% of their applicants with an average 3.4 weighted or 3.4 GPA. Manny also is kind of interested in California, not necessarily sure, finds the University of Redlands, realizes they will offer a ton of scholarship money. They accept 74% of their applicants. They have Division III sports. The GPA is within the ranges, and it's a likely school. And because it's close, we'll visit. The University of Washington accepts 45% of the applicants, a 3.78 to a 4.2 GPA. So University of Washington for Manny would most likely be a target school. Really likes the idea of being Seattle, and they have a huge alumni network. So that's really fun as well. And then Pepperdine, really a smaller campus, but incredibly strong business program and a very robust study abroad program, which could open up global opportunities. Doesn't know if it's too small or close to home, but again, it's close by. So Manny can go visit and work with the attendance office to get cleared from a day and go visit the campus. And Pepperdine would essentially be a target closer to Reach School for Manny. So in terms of the research that Manny's compiled, really well done. Looking on websites, looking on Naviance and compiling the data. If this was Manny's college list, kind of going back, it's got 6 schools with at least 2 or 3 that Manny can get into. So essentially, once you're compiling your data, keep track, visit a college campus, tour online, super important, and just write down every little thing because all the schools tend to start looking the same. So keep track of your research as you go along. Again, start big and go small. One of the biggest themes in second semester junior year is research colleges. You can research on websites like College Express. College Express has lists and rankings that rank schools based on majors, student community, student experience, the learning experience. You can pick a few lists that are important to you and see which schools are making sense. You can search on Big Future College Search is a really great one. And again, I'm going to share all this out tomorrow once I send out the slides. Naviance also has a super match college search where you can plug in your GPA, but also, again, the things that are important, the major, different components, location, size, all of that good stuff, and it will compile a list of schools for you. Once you have essentially a structured college list by summer, early fall of senior year, this is when you start to strategize your deadlines. And again, you're not getting lost in the weeds of the application itself because you've created your list and you've made it smaller for yourself. So when someone says, oh, I'm applying early decision to Tulane because that will give me the strongest chance of admission, for example, you can say, well, I'm not really sure if I want to commit to a school yet. So I'm going to apply mostly regular decision and early action, because remember, early action still gives you the option to hear back sooner and can present a strong application, but you don't have to commit to a university yet. So always bring it back to you, work with your counselor. It's your own individual decision, and try your best not to compare as best as you can. So early applications, there's different decision plans. There's early action. These deadlines are typically November 1st and November 15th of fall of your senior year. You hear back typically by December, mid-January at the latest, and you have the action to wait to hear all of your other decisions, such as UCs and Cal States, compare financial aid packages, really think about maybe visit campuses, and then commit to a four-year university by May 1st of the spring semester of your senior year. There are binding decision plans. These are early decision, restrictive early action. Any verbiage with decision and restrictive, essentially, you're applying to one university under a binding decision plan. So you're not applying to 5 universities with early decision, because if you get accepted to that university, you withdraw all of your other applications. It can be really positive for a student who absolutely knows that this is the university for them. They've done the research. They're confident that if they get in, they don't care wherever else they go. They also have looked at financial aid and estimated college costs, because when you hear back from an early school, again, you hear back before you receive your financial aid packages. So if you've committed it to a university and all of a sudden realize that that university has unmet need and you are graduating with mounds of debt, it may not be the best choice for you. Think about when you will present the strongest application. So again, if I'm a student who can request letters of recommendation, get my essays together by November, if I have had consistent and strong grades and I feel really confident, I can submit an application by early deadlines, then that might make sense. If I'm a student who's a little bit of a late bloomer or had a dip in grades from circumstances out of my control, I might choose to apply regular decision so I can send an updated transcript with my first semester senior grades, which is going to be added value to my application. Every student is different, and you have to ask yourself, when am I going to present the strongest application for the best chance of admission? And then how do I prioritize my time? What's going to be something that I do today that's going to help my application tomorrow? So thinking about this and what it looks like in the spring semester currently as a junior, you're focusing on classes. Grades can be one of the biggest factors in the academic review and in an admission decision. So if you are taking SAT prep, for example, and you're failing your AP Chem class, pull your SAT prep back and prioritize your AP Chem class. Your classes are your day in and day out work, so really prioritize your coursework. And again, lock in this last semester of grades to be able to send to colleges. Thinking about your senior year schedule, you also want to present a senior year schedule that is strong and academic, but also one that you can fulfill successfully. Maybe you set up a meeting with your counselor in the spring. Perhaps you take an SAT or ACT exam. We have the official SAT here on March 2nd at Beverly. And again, remember, UCs and Cal States do not take the SAT or ACT, and a majority of colleges are test optional. You can take that exam in the spring. It is housed in College Center or ACT, and then you get to decide, is this going to be a piece to my college application in the fall that I want to submit or not? Maybe you request letters of recommendations from teachers by just asking them. Hi, Miss Garrett, I really loved your class. I would love for you to write me a letter of recommendation next fall. I'm going to follow up with you. You're an awesome teacher. So what can you do now that's going to help your application? Maybe you take a college tour and you go on a visit. Brainstorm your college essays. Also, grammar and spelling on your college essays. If you look at my presentation, there's not an E after college. So over the summer, participate in those college essay workshops, brainstorm your college essay topics, and really work on those drafts and revisions. The college essay component really is the one piece that differentiates you from the peer at the high school that has the same application or academic profile as you. Or if you're applying to UCs, for example, when there's over 100,000 applications to one campus, those 4 short essay questions to the UCs can really help provide depth to your application and shine a light and help stand out. Organize your deadlines and decide if you're applying early, regular, what's available to me. Let me fill out my Excel spreadsheet. Fill out an activity sheet. The UCs and private and out-of-state schools will ask you to list your activities, but also painstakingly how long you've been involved, the average hours you've spent in that activity, and what role did you play within that activity. And that can just take time. So again, that's something that you can organize before. You can also retake SAT and ACT exams over the summer and into fall of your senior year as well. When you come back for fall, this is when your college list should really be finalized. There's essay sessions in the College Center. You might, I would very highly encourage you to meet with your college representatives, prioritize your earlier UC and Cal State apps. Remember, those are due in November. And then again, retake testing if needed. All right, I'm jamming through this, guys. Here we go. Quick logistics. I do want to remind you that this information is located on our college website. I'll share my screen and show you this at the end of this, as well as some of the resources I mentioned. This is a lot of information, a lot. And I realize the sound of my voice for an hour can be very difficult. I've sat through webinars and they're tough. But I want you to remember that you can access this information at any point in time. But if there's one thing that you walk away with is to really focus on your college list and stay true to yourself, then I have done my job well. So the academic pieces of the application, these are the components that the colleges will look for. Classes and rigor throughout high school, so not just your GPA, but grades from freshman year through your senior year schedule, the types of classes you took, if you've maxed out in the math curriculum, for example, if you took extra visual performing arts, if you continued on in a foreign language. All of those things help differentiate your transcript, and it's really important that that is a component to the application. Your grades in your class, if they were consistent, if there were a dip in grades, is there a reason why, how you've grown? Your SAT or ACT, unless it's test optional or they don't review it at all, like the UCs or Cal States. They look at your advanced coursework, honors, APs, how you've gone above and beyond the curriculum. The character pieces of a college application are things like your college essays, activities and awards, and letters of recommendation. The personal pieces of your college application, these are your family and home environment. How did you grow up? What did or did not have access to? What were challenges or circumstances beyond your control that might have shaped your story? How you've overcome a challenge? Maybe you've had an insight or a period of growth in your life. Where you live, where you attend high school, all of these, the colleges will take into consideration. And then there's extras. There are pieces on a college application where you can provide additional information to academic and personal components. So for example, if there was a course that you were unable to take because it didn't fit within your schedule, you can provide that. If you had a learning disability that helps provide context to your grades and maybe perhaps why you took more general education classes and not as many as APs, there's basis for you to provide that. There's also spaces for you to provide if something happened, such as COVID, that really affected your grades and weren't as reflective of where you are academically. It's up to you to provide context to your application, and we help you with that here. So just ask. And then there's specialized programs. You might have interviews, audition, and portfolios for performing and visual arts-based programs. And then there are really optional things for colleges, like the University of Chicago, for example, offers an optional video submission. So look for these nuggets that help you stand out and really provides a character component to your application. All right, we're doing great, guys. Hang tight. We got 8 minutes. I'm sticking to it. Letters of recommendation. They are not needed for UC and Cal States. UC Berkeley might ask for a letter of recommendation after you apply. They ask for about 20 to 30% of applicants, and it's really because they've become so selective to help. Aside from that, UC's, Cal States do not ask. Private out-of-state universities typically ask for 1 to 2 teacher recommendations. Usually your recommendations should come from a core academic teacher from your junior year. Now, if you don't have anyone from your junior year and there are special circumstances where a sophomore teacher makes more sense, for example, there are always nuances and caveats. So again, come to our center, ask, we can help guide you to what that looks like. The teacher you ask doesn't necessarily have to come from the class that you received an A. Again, on your college application, they will have your transcript and your grades. So think about the teacher, think about the classes right now that you engage in, maybe a teacher that you've asked for help when you've been stuck. All of these different components are important. Counselors, your school council will provide a counselor recommendation letter for private and out-of-state schools. Not all private and out-of-state schools, by the way, require these. So again, it's just kind of a helpful guide. Your school counselor really provides the character piece, and they help kind of shine a light within you within the school environment. There are brag sheets. These are surveys and Naviance that you and your parent and guardian can complete that help provide kind of anecdotal information to your teacher and counselor so they can write a stronger letter of recommendation. So a tip on letters of recommendation, think about 1 to 2 teachers and obviously your counselor. Ask them really nicely in person before you head off for summer. Work on your brag sheets over the summer. And when you come back in the fall semester, when you create your college application accounts, you will then formally request them with their emails on your college applications. College cost. I would be remiss if I didn't have one slide on college affordability and estimating college cost. Every family is different. Every college is different. Colleges offer financial aid based on merit, such as academics, and need, family income need. It's really important for you as a family to get a sense of what is my expectation of college cost? Is this a major component to the college search process or not? If it is a major component, am I as a family looked at as colleges as a family that has more need or more merit? And then when I look at my college list, I'm diving into that college's website to get a sense of traditionally, what do they offer types of families based on income and GPA, for example. A great place to start, College Board has an expected family contribution calculator. If you type that into Google, you will find it. You can plug in your information as a family. It gives you an expected family contribution number. This is the number that colleges will expect you reasonably to pay every year at the college. Then when you're looking at your college list, you can go directly to the college's website and find the net price calculators. These are calculators on every single college website where you can plug in information and it will help give you somewhat of a rough estimate as to how much that college will cost. So for example, if a private institution costs $60,000 per year, but they tend to be really friendly with offering a lot of money to families who have need, your college cost could essentially come down to 20 grand or 18 grand per year. So don't let the sticker price of a university determine if you're going to apply or not without some digging. The National Center for Educational Statistics has phenomenal data on past financial aid packages, down to if a family with on average of $80,000 is going to the University of Miami, what's the average financial aid package am I going to receive? Really helping to put an idea. I will tell you, as a family, receiving an admissions decision that you got accepted to the university of your dreams, then pulling out a calculator to find out that there is 40 grand per year that as a family won't be able to cover, times 4, graduating with $120,000 worth of debt, having that conversation after getting accepted to the university is gut-wrenching. So again, every family is different. It's very personal and there's no judgment. There's a lot of resources. So have this discussion ahead of time, or parents, guardians have the discussion with us so we can help you guys navigate that. Okay. We have some practice exam opportunities at the high school. Princeton Review is offering free practice SAT and ACTs. Students can sign up on their own time. There are windows here on our flyers, but you can reach out to our rep and she will be able to schedule at any time with you. We do have the March 2nd official SAT here at Beverly's campus. It is free and accessible to all Beverly students. Students do not need to register on College Board. Again, with testing, you have more options now than ever before. UCs, Cal States are not looking at your SAT or ACT, and private and out-of-state universities most likely will be test optional or flexible, giving you an opportunity to send a score if it is strong. Have a consistent testing plan. We have a ton of resources. We also had our college admission testing night on January 20th. And we do have that recording available. So check your Aries email communication or email us if you have any questions. 6:59 on the dot, you guys. Please dive into the chat if you have any questions. So we talked about early decision and kind of restrictive early action. Those are both binding decision plans. So what's the difference? The difference is that every college just has their unique verbiage. So for example, Stanford has restrictive early action. They do not have early decision. That's their binding plan. Early decision, it's just a different term. So they're both similar in the sense that you're applying to the college. If accepted, you withdraw all of your applications and you attend that university. And typically these policies prohibit you from applying to another binding decision plan. Because again, it would be like RSVPing to the same event, knowing you can only attend one. So no one's sliding anyone here. So you're really choosing an early binding decision plan to one institution. And again, you can apply early action. Early action is not restrictive. You apply early, you hear back early. You don't have to withdraw applications. So if, to give an example, I'm a student, I apply to one university early decision, I apply to 4 early action, and then I apply to the UCs, which are regular decision, and they are due November 30th. Let's say I hear back from my early decision school, I get in, I withdraw every other application and I attend. Let's say I get denied from my early decision school. All right, that's done. Now I'm kind of off the hook and I see every other decision or every other admission decision, and then I can make a choice by May 1st. Again, I realize this is a lot of information. So I want to also remind you guys, the College Center has so many programs. The center is open during lunch. Email us. If it takes, 1 to 3 days for us to get back to you, just email us again. We are a big office. We have a ton of programs, but ask questions. Can you apply early action to multiple colleges? So again, remember, early action is the non-binding one. So yes, you can apply theoretically to all of the colleges that offer early action and be done and hear your decisions. Just keep in mind that one application can have multiple essays, submitting your classes, letters of rec, activities and awards, and it takes time. So when you're preparing your applications, you're really going for depth, not breadth. Because if you're applying to multiple universities just to apply, if they're not quality, authentic applications, admission counselors, it's watered down, they'll let you go, and what's the point? If you can focus on a handful, like those 8 to 10 colleges, and you show things like demonstrated interest, meaning you get to know the university, you attend an admission information session, you meet with the admission counselor, you do an online tour, you've now invested in that university, and they can get a sense that you're a student who might actually come, and that's a more authentic application. All right, going through the chat a little bit more. If you go to Santa Monica College and transfer, so this presentation was geared towards four-year colleges and university admissions. Santa Monica College, you do not need the SAT or ACT. It is a clear, simple application that opens up in winter, spring of your senior year. And you would begin as a community college student and then transfer to a four-year institution. A lot of my students aren't really sure if they want to do the community college transfer route or the four-year college application route. So I recommend, again, keeping your options open and apply to both. So apply to four-year colleges in the spring, submit your Santa Monica College or West LA College application. I'm sorry, let me back up and make sure I said that correctly. Apply to four-year colleges in the fall, then submit your SMC community college applications in the spring, and make a decision by May 1st. If you find a four-year university you're excited about, your community college application just doesn't go through, that's fine. If you decide you want to transfer, where you transfer, they then look at your community college coursework, and they no longer look at your high school transcript or your SAT or ACT. Oh, awesome. Thank you guys for the thank you messages. Again, this presentation has been recorded. Next week on the 15th, we do have a coffee with the counselors in the morning. And if you're a family that's like, I can never make those, I'm missing out. You're not missing out. It's okay. We will always provide opportunities and information. And again, just email and reach us in our center. We have our spring college series I think it's next Tuesday. It's unpacking GPA, what is weighted, unweighted, what do colleges look at. So that's a lunch series for students to attend. We'll always email the slides home to you guys. And if you have any specific questions that were unanswered, please email us directly. And yeah, if your goal is, I'm going to have, let's see, just check in the chat real quick. Okay. And then just kind of a note on, I think this is a good question. Is it beneficial to apply to like a specific major, for example? That is very school specific. And remember, your job is really to prepare an authentic and strong application. So if your entire extracurricular list leans towards robotics, for example, and you go to apply as a women's study major because it's an easier in to get into the university, it often always reads across a bit inauthentically. So I would always apply to the major if you for sure know you want to get in. A lot of times schools will offer you on your application a first and a second choice major. So you can apply into the business school, for example, and then into the School of Letters and Sciences. So if they don't offer you admission into the business program, they may offer you admission into the general university. And then you as a student might decide you don't want to go to that school because if you can never get into the business program, it's not going to be a good fit for you. Again, every college is different. And I will say those college admission visits in the fall semester are the best for those specific questions. A student can ask the University of Miami representative, if I want to apply to business and it's hard to get into, should I apply undecided? And she'll tell you no, or, here's another idea that could work for you. So always talk to the school and don't be afraid to call the college. They have admission counselors and their role is to recruit students that are good fits for the school. So always ask. We will provide, we do have a spring college night coming up. It was slated for March 8th. However, because admission counselors are in their reading season right now, we might push it back. So we will send communication to make sure you guys are all in the loop. And absolutely, we will share all of our upcoming dates and deadlines, and every spring college series during lunch, we will share. And that college junior video that we sent out to every single junior to complete in class has really in-depth information. And I will, while I have you guys real quick, show our college website. And with that, actually, I don't know how to get out of this presentation. Here we go. And with that, I am going to go home and eat dinner as well. So let me show you guys our website, which has a ton of information. We're located under the resources section, under counseling. Here's the College Center. And we have an 11th grade planning page that has links to all of those awesome college resources that we talked about, Naviance, research tools, college costs, and we have a full month-to-month timeline with dates and deadlines for you guys. There's also an incredibly in-depth updated college admission testing page with typical testing timelines, test structures, links to dates, practice exams, when it's offered at Beverly and things like that. So that's a great resource to go to. Thank you guys so much. That was a world of information. And email us in the center. I'm C. Barneson at BHUSD. And if you're a student who hung on here, come say hi to me tomorrow. We have snacks in our center. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.